The scent of aged oak and forgotten dreams still clung to the air in my mother's attic, a place I hadn't dared to explore since I was a child. Now at 63, with the weight of my own years pressing down, I found myself standing amidst dusty relics, each one a silent witness to a life I thought I knew. My mother, Eleanor, had passed just 6 months prior, leaving behind a legacy of quiet strength and an estate that, for all its modest comforts, felt vast and empty without her. My sister Clara, 2 years my junior, had always been the practical one, meticulously sifting through legal documents and financial statements. I, on the other hand, was drawn to the echoes, the whispers of the past. It was a Tuesday afternoon, grey and overcast. The kind of day that felt ripe for uncovering secrets. Clara was due back from the lawyer's office any moment, but I couldn't wait. Something, a persistent whisper in my subconscious, had pulled me here. A small, unassuming wooden chest tucked away beneath a stack of yellowed linens, and caught my eye. It wasn't ornate, just simple pine, smooth with age. My fingers traced the faint carvings on its lid. A bird, a blooming flower, symbols I didn't recognize. Curiosity, a feeling I hadn't indulged in years, stirred within me. I lifted the lid, expecting to find old photographs or perhaps some childhood trinkets. Instead, nestled among brittle lace and dried lavender, was a single, leather-bound journal. Its pages were thin, fragile, and filled with a familiar, elegant script, my mother's handwriting. But this wasn't her everyday cursive. It was more delicate, more deliberate, as if each word had been chosen with immense care. The first entry was dated October 12th, 1965. I was just 5 then, Clara 3. The words on the page were a jumble of emotions, a raw confession of fear and desperation. Mother wrote of a secret, a profound one, that she had carried since before her marriage to my father, Robert. A child, a baby given up for adoption. My breath hitched. This couldn't be right. My parents, Eleanor and Robert, were pillars of our small community. Their marriage a testament to unwavering devotion. The idea of a hidden child, a sibling, was unfathomable. Yet there it was, in my mother's own hand, a truth she had buried for decades. I sat on a worn trunk, the journal clutched in my hands. The dust motes dancing in the sliver of light filtering through the attic window. Each page turned was a step deeper into a past I never knew existed. A past that redefined everything I thought I understood about my family. Mother detailed the circumstances, a youthful romance, a misunderstanding, a family shamed, and the impossible choice she had been forced to make. The father, a young man named Thomas, had been pressured by his strict parents to deny his involvement. Eleanor, alone and terrified, had been sent away to a distant relative's home to hide her pregnancy. The baby, a girl, was born in secret and placed for adoption just days later. Mother wrote of the agonizing pain, the hollow ache that had never truly left her, even after she met and married my father, Robert. A man who loved her fiercely and without question. Father, it seemed, had known nothing of this, or had he? The thought sent a shiver down my spine. Clara's voice, sharp and practical, cut through the quiet hum of the attic. "Are you up here?" I thought I heard something. I quickly snapped the journal shut, tucking it back into the chest, my heart pounding a frantic rhythm against my ribs. "Just sorting through some things, Clara," I called back, my voice sounding strained even to my own ears. She appeared at the top of the stairs, her sensible loafers crunching on the dusty floorboards. Her silver hair, always impeccably styled, seemed to gleam even in the dim light. "Found anything interesting? Or just more of Mother's endless collection of, well, things?" She gestured vaguely at the stacks of boxes. "Just memories," I mumbled, trying to meet her gaze without revealing the storm brewing inside me. "Old photographs, trinkets." She nodded, a faint frown creasing her brow. "Right. Well, I've just come from Mr. Henderson's office. Everything's in order. Just a few more signatures and we can close out the estate. Then we can finally decide what to do with all of this." Her voice was devoid of sentimentality, a stark contrast to the emotional earthquake rattling my own foundations. I knew then that I couldn't tell her, not yet. The secret, A silent betrayal of our family's carefully constructed image. Felt too heavy, too fragile to simply blurt out. I needed time to process it, to understand the full implications. How could I tell my sister that our mother, the woman we revered, had lived a lie for over 60 years, that we had a sister out there somewhere, living a life entirely separate from ours? The thought was overwhelming. Over the next few weeks, I returned to the attic whenever Clara was out, poring over the journal, piecing together the fragments of a hidden life. Mother's entries grew more infrequent after my birth, but the underlying current of longing never faded. She wrote of birthdays she didn't celebrate, milestones she imagined, and the constant fear that her secret would one day be revealed. There were no names, no dates of adoption, just the raw, unvarnished truth of a mother's grief. I searched for clues, for any scrap of information that might lead me to this unknown sister. The journal became my obsession, a portal to a past that both fascinated and terrified me. One evening, as I sat alone in my living room, the journal open on my lap, I noticed something I had overlooked before. Tucked inside the back cover, beneath a faded photograph of a young Eleanor, was a small, creased envelope. My hands trembled as I pulled it out. Inside were two items, a tiny silver locket tarnished with age, and a brittle, yellowed newspaper clipping. The locket was simple, unadorned, clearly a child's. I pressed the clasp and it sprang open to reveal two miniature photographs. One was of a young Eleanor, her eyes wide with a youthful innocence I barely recognized. The other was a blurred image of a man, his face kind, his hair dark. Thomas, I presumed, the father of the child. A wave of sorrow washed over me. This was the only tangible link my mother had to her first love, her first child. The newspaper clipping was a birth announcement, dated September 22nd, 1960. It listed the birth of a baby girl, Amelia, to Mr. and Mrs. David and Sarah Miller of a neighboring town. A small town, one easily commutable from where my mother had been sent away. The details were sparse, but the date, the location, the name Amelia, it all resonated with the vague hints in Mother's journal. Could this be her? Could this be our sister? The possibility, both thrilling and terrifying, sent a jolt through me. I knew I had to tell Clara. This secret was too big, too profound to carry alone. The thought of her reaction, however, filled me with dread. Clara was a woman of logic, of order. This revelation would shatter her carefully constructed world, just as it had shattered mine. But the weight of the lie, the decades of silence, felt unbearable. The next morning, I called Clara and asked her to come over. I didn't give her a reason, just a vague sense of urgency in my voice. When she arrived, her usual brisk demeanor was softened by a hint of concern. "Daniel, what's going on? You sounded off." I led her to the kitchen table, the journal, locket, and newspaper clipping laid out before me. My hands were clammy, my voice a mere whisper. "Clara, I found something in Mother's attic. Something that changes everything." She looked at the items, her brow furrowing in confusion. "What is all this? An old locket? A newspaper clipping? What's so important about them?" I took a deep breath, the words catching in my throat. "This journal, Clara, it's Mother's. And it tells a story she never shared with us. A story about a child. Our sister." The color drained from Clara's face. Her eyes, usually so sharp, widened in disbelief. "What are you talking about, Daniel? Mother never had another child." "You're being absurd." Her voice was tight, laced with a familiar defensiveness. "Read it, Clara," I urged, pushing the journal towards her. "Read her words. She gave a baby girl up for adoption before she met father. A girl named Amelia, I think. This clipping, it's a birth announcement. The dates, the location, it all fits." She picked up the journal, her fingers trembling slightly. As she read, her expression shifted from disbelief to shock, then to a profound sadness. Tears welled in her eyes, silent and unexpected. The practical, logical Clara was gone, replaced by a woman grappling with a truth that defied all logic. "Mother, she kept this a secret for her entire life?" Clara's voice was barely audible. "Why? How could she?" "Shame, I imagine," I replied, my own voice thick with emotion. "Fear she was so young, Clara, alone. And our society, Back then, it wasn't kind to women in her situation. We sat in silence for a long time, the weight of the revelation pressing down on us. The bond between us, forged in a shared childhood and a lifetime of sibling affection, felt both strained and strengthened by this new, unsettling knowledge. We were united in our shock, our grief, and our sudden, overwhelming sense of responsibility. "What do we do now, Daniel?" Clara finally asked, her voice raw. Do we try to find her?" The question hung in the air, heavy with unspoken implications. To search for Amelia would be to unearth a past that had been meticulously buried, to potentially disrupt a life that had been built on a foundation entirely from ours. It was a daunting prospect, fraught with emotional complexities. "I don't know, Clara," I admitted, my gaze fixed on the locket. "But I think we have to try for Mother, for us, for Amelia." And so began our quiet quest. We started subtly, using the limited information we had. The internet, a tool that had been unimaginable in Mother's youth, became our primary resource. We searched for Amelia Miller, born in September 1960, in the specified town. It was a needle in a haystack, but we felt compelled to search. We were driven by a mixture of curiosity, a sense of justice for our mother, and a profound longing to connect with a lost part of our family. Weeks turned into months. We hit dead ends, followed false leads, and grew increasingly frustrated. The emotional toll was immense. We argued, we despaired, but we never gave up. This shared secret, this silent betrayal that had divided our family for decades, was now, ironically, bringing Clara and me closer than we had ever been. We spoke of Mother in new ways, understanding her choices, her burdens, with a depth we hadn't possessed before. The image of the perfect, unblemished mother we had held onto for so long began to crack, revealing a more complex, more human woman, one who had made difficult choices and carried their weight with silent strength. Then one rainy afternoon, Clara found something. A public record, a marriage certificate for an Amelia Miller born September 1960, listing adoptive parents David and Sarah Miller. The address was in a different state, but the names, the dates, the small details, all aligned. It was a fragile thread, but it was a thread nonetheless. We made the decision to write her a letter, a carefully worded anonymous letter explaining our discovery, our mother's, and our hope for a connection. We included a photograph of our mother, a younger one, from the time of Amelia's birth, and a copy of the newspaper clipping. We didn't want to overwhelm her, to intrude, but simply to offer the truth, if she was willing to receive it. We sent it to the last known address, a leap of faith into the unknown. The waiting was agonizing. Every phone call, every knock at the door sent a jolt of anticipation through us. Days stretched into weeks, and we began to fear that our letter had been ignored, or worse, rejected. Had we made a mistake? Had we opened old wounds that were better left undisturbed? The doubts gnawed at us. Then one crisp autumn morning, a thick envelope arrived. It was addressed to the siblings of Eleanor in a neat, unfamiliar hand. My heart hammered as I tore it open. Inside was a letter, several pages long, and a photograph. The letter was from Amelia. Her words were measured, cautious, but filled with an undeniable curiosity. She confirmed her birth date, her adoptive parents, and the fact that she had always known she was adopted. Her adoptive parents, bless them, had been open and honest with her from a young age. She had often wondered about her birth mother, but had never actively searched, fearing she would intrude. She wrote of her life, her family, her quiet joy. And then she spoke of the locket. "My mother, Sarah, told me it was the only thing I had when I was placed with them." Amelia wrote, "A small silver locket, I still have it. It's always been a mystery, a whisper of a past I didn't know." My eyes welled up as I read her words. The locket, the same locket my mother had kept, the one with her own youthful image and the blurred face of Thomas. It was a tangible link, a silent promise kept across decades. The photograph she included was of herself, a woman in her early 60s, her silver hair pulled back in a soft bun. Her eyes, a striking shade of blue, were startlingly familiar. They were our mother's eyes, The resemblance was undeniable, a silent testament to the undeniable truth of our shared blood. Clara and I wept that day, tears of relief, of sorrow, and of a profound, unexpected joy. We had found her, our sister. The silent betrayal had, in the end, led to an unexpected reunion. Amelia's letter ended with a hesitant invitation. She wanted to meet us, to hear more about Eleanor, about the life she had lived, about the choices she had made. She wanted to understand the woman who had given her life, and then, in an act of profound love and sacrifice, given her away. The first meeting was awkward, tentative. We met in a neutral location, a quiet cafe halfway between our homes. Amelia was exactly as she appeared in the photograph, graceful, with a quiet strength that reminded me so much of Mother. She had a kind smile and a gentle demeanor. It was like looking at a reflection of our mother, tempered by years of a different life, a different upbringing. We talked for hours, sharing stories, piecing together the broken fragments of our family history. Amelia spoke of her adoptive parents with immense love and gratitude, emphasizing that she had a wonderful, fulfilling life. But there was also an undeniable longing in her eyes, a desire to understand the missing piece of her identity. We told her about Eleanor, about her quiet strength, her love for us, her unwavering devotion to our father. We spoke of the journal, of the profound grief and longing she had carried in secret. Amelia listened intently, tears gleaming in her eyes. "She loved me," she whispered, her voice choked with emotion. "Even though she gave me up, she loved me. Always," Clara said, reaching across the table to take Amelia's hand. "She never stopped loving you. She carried you in her heart every single day." The conversation was cathartic, a release of decades of unspoken truths and buried emotions. We learned about Amelia's life, her career as a librarian, her her loving husband. We discovered shared interests, common quirks, and an undeniable sense of belonging that transcended the years of separation. The silence of the betrayal had been deafening for so long, a chasm that separated us. But now, through the courage of our mother's confession, and our own willingness to confront a difficult truth, that chasm was slowly, painstakingly being bridged. Our family was not what we thought it was, but it was in its new, expanded form. More complete, more honest, and ultimately more whole. The experience taught us profound lessons about forgiveness, about the complexity of human choices, and about the enduring power of love. It made us question our own lives, our own unspoken regrets, and the paths we had chosen. Could we have done things differently? Were there secrets we held, truths we avoided, that might one day resurface and redefine our own legacies? The weight of time and choices is a heavy burden, but it also carries the potential for redemption. For Eleanor, her silent betrayal, born of desperation and fear, found its redemption in the bond we were now forging with Amelia. It was a legacy of love, albeit a complicated one, that transcended the boundaries of time and secrecy. Our journey with Amelia continued. We exchanged letters, phone calls, and her children slowly began to connect, expanding our family tree in ways we never imagined. The initial shock gave way to a quiet acceptance, and then to a deep, abiding affection. Amelia was not just our half-sister, she was family, an integral part of our story, a vibrant thread in the tapestry of our lives. The attic, once a place of dusty relics and forgotten dreams, became a symbol of revelation and renewal. The wooden chest, once a repository of a painful secret, now represented the courage to confront the past and embrace the future, however unexpected it might be. My mother's journal, her raw, honest confession, became a testament to her enduring love and the complex, beautiful, and sometimes devastating choices that shape a lifetime. As I look back now at 73, with Amelia, a cherished and constant presence in our lives, I often wonder about the silent battles others might be fighting, the secrets they might be carrying. Our story, the story of Eleanor, Amelia, Clara, and me, is a testament to the fact that it is never too late to uncover the truth, to heal old wounds, or to find connection. It reminds us that life's most profound lessons often come wrapped in the quiet whispers of the past, and in the courage to face what lies beneath the surface. This could have been anyone's family. A single lie, decades apart, shaping lives in ways unimaginable. Is there still time for the unspoken truths in your own life? What if you had done things differently? These are the questions that linger, the questions that resonate long after the story is told. Life is a tapestry woven with threads of truth and secrecy, regret and redemption. And sometimes, just sometimes, the unraveling of one thread can reveal a pattern more beautiful and complex than we ever dared to imagine. If this story has touched your heart, if it has made you reflect on your own family, please consider subscribing to Pure Emotion, Life After. Activate the notification bell so you don't miss our next profound story. Share your thoughts in the comments below. We believe every life holds a story worth telling, and every story holds a lesson worth learning.